Well, hello and welcome in. It is time for the Matt Murphy Radio Show, underway for another day, 7 minutes after 12 o'clock. Thank you for being here. I was late again. Chris Hand and I are having too much fun during the crossover, and I get late for the show. So I apologize for being a bit tardy, but hail, hail. We are all here until 3 o'clock or until they kick us off the radio, whichever comes first. It is Friday, September 27, 2024. Thank you for being a part of the show today. As I mentioned, my name is Matt Murphy, and conveniently, this radio show is called The Matt Murphy Show, and it's on Super Talk 99.7 WT. And allow me to throw the pleasantries your way, and then we'll get things lumbering under our own weight. It is Locks for Trump Day 209 for 209 full days. For well over a half a calendar year, I've been demonstrating my support for the former and future president of the United States of America by growing out my hair. That's my contribution, doing absolutely nothing for 209 days. In as much as I'm not going to get a haircut. I promised I would not get a haircut until we had a new president-elect. That's going to happen on November 6th at some point, or November 7th, or whenever they find these hidden votes in Philadelphia under a table somewhere. Who knows how they're going to do it? One way or the other, we're very excited about our debate watch party coming up next Tuesday. A lot of folks will be there. Thank you to the Glock Store. The Glock Store, and I'll tell you more about this coming up later on in the show, they're offering all kinds of goodies and giveaways. There's a raffle that's going on that culminates in Glock Store giving away, wait for it, a Glock. I think it's a 43. And I have a 43. Otherwise, and I don't think I'm eligible. Otherwise, I'd be all in on this. You have to be there to win. You should be there anyway. Hop Springs, Murfreesboro. Action starts at about 3. Brian Wilson cranks his show up then. The whole gang will be there by 6 o'clock. We'll be there until 8 o'clock when the debate starts, and we'll be there after as well. And Fox Nation, our buddies at Fox Nation will stop by. I do not know which personalities from Fox Nation will be around. One would assume that Pete Hegseth might be among those numbers in as much as he lives around here, but we don't know. All we can tell you is that Fox Nation will be broadcasting their show from Hop Springs. We'll be broadcasting our show from Hop Springs, and we would love to see you. There will be food, there will be drink, there will be fun, and a debate around 8 o'clock is planned to break out as well. So come out, see us, be there, enjoy some libations, enjoy some food, and enjoy watching J.D. Vance absolutely destroy Tim Walz, which is what I expect will happen. It's episode 661 of our proceedings on the show today. We have 38 days to go in the election cycle. Do I have all the pleasantries out of the way? And hello. Oh, I've got to introduce the players of the show. There's me. There's Sammy. Young Sammy is behind the glass, making sure that everything that comes out of our speakers sounds as good as humanly possible. Say hello to everyone, Sammy.
Hello. How are you doing today?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I got my headphones today. We're doing good.
You got your headphones. Do you have your microphones back? Did Bel K give you the microphones back?
Yes, he did. Thank you so much for putting those out there.
I just want to make sure that you get them because those seem to be a very expensive item, and I appreciate you.
I hope that they helped.
They did, as a matter of fact. I'm going to show you during the break the video that I ended up doing, and I'll get your assessment because I know you're a pro at it.
I got you.
I was down in Franklin yesterday filming a video at Savory Spice. I tell you all the time about Savory Spice, this wonderful location in downtown Franklin, all the goodies they have down there. Savory Spice will actually be at our election night watch party, and they'll be giving away Spice and Easy product. I mean, Holly told me yesterday that she had like 50 different Spice and Easy, what do you call them? Bags, where all of the spices are there, and all you have to do is buy the several ingredients, whether it's chicken or, sometimes it's a dip and you put sour cream in it or whatever it is. They've got all of those to give away during the election night watch. So maybe I can... I know some people, Sammy. You're shaking your head. I can score you some of this. It's pretty good.
I would appreciate that. That Sounds very good.
My pleasure. But I was filming this video yesterday, and I started it. You'll like this, Sammy, because you're pro. So it was only a minute long. It was supposed to be 30 seconds, and I made an executive decision that I couldn't do it in 30 seconds, so I went to a minute, and I hope nobody gets in trouble as a result. But I started it outside, and I moved. It was like a moving camera deal. So started it outside, moved the shot inside, said hello to Holly, got all of it in there. I'm very excited for you to give me an honest grade.
That sounds like some advanced camera work that you did.
Well, you know who's doing the camera work?
Who?
Young Macy, who works at Savory Spice. I think she's like 19.
I think she needs a pay raise.
Quality work. Well, if you want good quality work done on your iPhone, hand it to a 19 or 20-year-old. Yeah. They know.
They
I mean,
do.
you're young. You're relatively young. I mean, relative to me.
I was about to say, I appreciate you're comparing me to a 19, 20-year-old. I'll take that.
One way or the other, it was a lot of fun. And thank you for the mics because Sammy has these awesome, she does so many different things in her life. She has these awesome microphone lapels that you can put on your lapel of your shirt. They're wireless, obviously. And then the receiver plugs right into your iPhone, and then you're wireless, baby. You can go anywhere and do anything.
You can get anything off of Amazon these days.
I know. You get good quality sound out of that. Hey, Ken Weaver's in the background.
Good afternoon, y'all. Yes.
What is happening, Kenneth?
I just back here writing up stories and telling them.
Did you see my new hat?
I couldn't read what was on it.
Here,
I didn't have my eyes on.
Am I on camera back there for you? You got it? You ready? You ready? That's what it says.
Still can't see it.
Well, you want me to just tell Sammy? Should I just tell him what it says? I got this new hat, and it says "hot as balls." It was on clearance because the season is over.
Yeah.
And I was questioned as to why in the world I would buy something of this nature.
Yeah.
Why is this coming to our house? And I said, well, it was on sale. I thought we liked sales.
Well, yeah, man. If it's on sale, you get it.
And I can always hold on to it until it's 98 degrees outside and 70% relative humidity in the middle of Tennessee in the middle of the summertime, and then you pop that on and everybody knows.
That's right.
Anyway.
Yeah, it's kind of like BOGO too. I mean, if it's on sale, you get it. And if it's BOGO, you get it, especially if it's a package of cookies.
For our home, apparently it's mustard. We have like 28 bottles of mustard. Why do we have so much mustard? Well, it's on BOGO. What? Well, Mr. Weaver, later on today in the 2 o'clock hour,
what are we going to do?
I want to impose upon you to have like 120 seconds of football talk with Ken and Matt. That's all I want out of everybody. That's all Ken and I are asking for is 120 seconds.
120 seconds. That's all we need.
Football talk in the 2 o'clock hour with Matt and Ken.
All right.
Because I want to know how you feel about your Sooners going down to the Plains.
Right. I'm looking forward to that, and I'm looking forward to the Dogs and the Tide.
I'm nervous, and here's why.
Why?
Because I feel good. You know what I mean?
See, I am just like you, man.
I mean, you know what I mean?
There is no, it's torture is what I'm telling you, dude. I'm going to get hypnotized to where when Saturday rolls around, all I want to do is like go antiquing or maybe just go back to bed and just sleep all the way through it. I thought about, I'll just go fishing. But if I go fishing, I'm going to think about football.
I know.
If I do anything, I'm going to think about football.
I've gotten a little obsessed with it myself.
I don't know what to do. It's my grandfather on my maternal grandfather. He had to stop watching college football. It was stressing him out too much, so he just stopped watching.
Oh, well, I mean,
but I'm not going to do that.
No, you got to live your life, man. No, I'm excited. Tennessee, I just found out, like I was today old, that I found out that Tennessee's off again this week. What?
Yeah, they got a bye, man.
There's 2 byes this year, right?
Yep.
I guess that makes sense because we have a bye right before the cocktail party that you're not supposed to call the cocktail party anymore.
Yeah, you can't do that.
I think that it'll be a good day for the Oklahoma Sooners, but that's all I'll say about that because I got an Auburn Tiger in my household and she does not care for me talking bad about her beloved Auburn Tigers.
Yeah, and I'm not going to do that either because I like your wife.
You need to lay low because of the snacks. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. By the way, boy, that that last little batch of Erica goodies went real fast in the Weaver household.
She does the Chex Mix, man. I'm telling you, it's so good. Anyway, so maybe a little football talk coming up in the 2 o'clock hour. Fry Jay at 1 o'clock. Jay St. Clair is going to break down what exactly Eric Adams, the New York mayor, is charged with and why this is a thing. We'll also take any and all of your legal questions coming up at 615-737-9986. But I'm going to start the show with a Sylacauga update, one of the updates that I've been trying to get to over the course of this week. If you truly want to understand what's going on with regarding illegal immigration in the state of Tennessee, regarding illegal immigration all across the United States of America, I mean, I'm all for them. I'm here for the memes. I'm here for the eating their dogs, the eating the cats, they're eating the pets. I'm all about it. I'm here for all of it. And I don't mind the conversation about whether or not there is evidence or data indicating that the Haitian migrants that have come here have gotten to the point where, you know, they're killing ducks in the parks or even going so far as killing a cat and eating a cat and whatever. One of the reasons that we or I did not delve into it a little more further on our show is because I think it gives Democrats a talking point that takes us away from the subject. If we're debating whether or not in a one-off fashion somebody ate a cat or a dog, I don't think we're looking at the problem holistically. And I'm not wagging my finger at anybody. I'm merely suggesting that when you look at this from a lens of 100,000 feet as opposed to the microcosm of whether or not in this particular park in Springfield, Ohio, this particular Haitian immigrant ate this particular animal or whatever. All of that's bad, and all of that's a part of it, and all of that adds up to a jigsaw puzzle or a mosaic of bad news for the United States of America. And most reasonable people can agree with that. But focusing in on Springfield in the way that we have, I think it leads us away from how serious and how widespread the problem is, which is why I want to redirect to Sylacauga, Alabama. Last Tuesday night, this past Tuesday night, residents and lawmakers of Sylacauga, Alabama. Now, Sylacauga is a small Alabama town. It is on a stretch of road between Birmingham and the aforementioned Auburn on Highway 280. Sylacauga, Alabama's only claim to fame is a location called Gravity Hill. I've been to Gravity Hill. As a side note, if you're ever in the area, go to Gravity Hill because it's pretty cool. There are some of these places around the United States and around the world. So on Gravity Hill, you get to a stop sign, and it's called Gravity Hill Road. You get to a stop sign. I think there's video of me doing this. I did it on my motorcycle, and then I did it in my car on 2 separate occasions. So you get to the stop sign, and if I told you to bet every dollar in your checking account, if you put your vehicle in neutral, which way you would roll, you would swear to me that you were going to roll forward. Everything in your world looks like you are going downhill. And when you put your car in neutral and you take your foot off the brake, you roll backwards. And it is freaky deaky, baby. I mean, it's weird. So it's just, and it's one of the things where it's like the entire lay of the land. I mean, you can look it up, and, you know, people smarter than me have explained what's going on there. But that's the only claim to fame that Sylacauga has had, previous to the fact that they now are home to thousands and thousands and thousands of Haitian migrants. Just like, wait for it, Springfield. So this past Tuesday night in a town hall meeting, residents and lawmakers alike sat down and expressed massive frustration as to a lack of information as to why any and all of this is happening. State senators were there. Representatives from the governor's office were there. Local and state leaders there and present, and none of them had answers for the residents who wanted to know where the hell all of these people were coming from and why they were there. This is a microcosm of a greater issue going on in the United States of America, and it is part of a plan to fundamentally, wait for it, transform the United States of America. And yes, TB, I said holistically. It's a perfectly good word that Kamala Harris has now ruined for the rest of us. It's 21 after the hour. We're just getting underway. It's Libertarian Lunchtime Hour. We're having a good time on this Friday. It's a First Amendment Freestyle Friday, so dial us up, 615-737-9986. Back in a moment. I'm going a little crazy. I'm going to go ahead and do this as I talk about C10 Nationals and this huge event coming to Nashville Super Speedway October 4th and 5th. I'm going ahead and I'm giving away a set of tickets. I'm going to do it. I'm not asking anyone. I'm just doing it. So, Sammy, get ready on the phone lines because if you want to win tickets to this big event, it is time to do so. 615-737-9986. If you don't know what the C10 Nationals is exactly, it is the world's largest Chevrolet and GMC truck event. And they only hold 4, 5, 6 of these across the nation on an annual basis. It's coming to Nashville Super Speedway this Friday and Saturday. If you're a Chevy owner or a GMC owner, or if you just love automobiles and trucks in particular, you're going to love this event. You're going to want to go. Now, I believe that registration's still open online at c10nationals.com for you to register your vehicle so you can kind of be in the show, if you will. You will receive 2 adult passes for both days if you register your truck at the show. If you want to spectate, tickets are just $25. Parking is free. More info at c10nationals.com. That's c10nationals.com.
All right, good news. Good news, drivers. I see that the crash has been cleared there, Bradley Parkway southbound before Opry Mills, but it is still delayed by about 50 minutes because that thing was really backed up. And unfortunately, we understand at least one person was sent to the hospital in critical condition. We still got the backup East Loop downtown going eastbound because 24... there is the left lane is blocked on the off-ramp to go eastbound on 40. That is backed up beyond the 65-24 split north of downtown. Helene's death toll continues to rise. We've got the latest at 12:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I think I went through some of that traffic nonsense earlier today, and it is. I mean, the rain is exacerbating the situation, too. Just be on the lookout for nasty weather and nasty traffic all afternoon long on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We'll keep you up to date. We have given away tickets to the C10 Nationals, so that is all done. But if you want to call us up and make your feelings known about any subject matter that we cover today, 615-737-9986. You're certainly invited. 615-737-9986. I'm being told On the members my membersnutrition.com super text line just went down. That's on me. I was trying to get over to my side of things. Stand by, everyone.
Just blame the hurricane.
Hey, how is that? That thing is smoking up. It's in North Carolina now.
Yeah, it's this thing has done a number. It's killed a lot of people, and yeah, it's in. Like North Carolina's getting the really bad part of it right now, but Georgia is dealing with a lot of flooding too. So, yeah, this thing is it's still churning. It's still got a punch, and it hasn't quite made it all the way to Middle Tennessee yet. But we're getting a lot of that rain and some gusty winds too. So, fortunately, what we're not seeing, and man, I do not want to jinx it, Brother Murphy, but we're not seeing tornadoes and things like that as a result. So, I want to thank the good Lord for that.
I was listening to our own Brian Wilson yesterday afternoon, and he was going through, for me, I'm no meteorologist, and I don't pretend to be, but I've done this enough to know what I know and to know what I don't. But if you want to listen to a learned voice regarding weather situations, tune into Brian Wilson every afternoon on The Drive from 3 until 7, because he was talking about the Dipsy Doodle.
Yeah, the Dipsy Doodle.
The Dipsy Doodle. And I was listening to that, and it was a fascinating conversation about how sometimes these weather patterns, they take the Dipsy Doodle.
Yes.
And when they do, they're going to dump a lot of rain. In all seriousness, you're thinking about the folks on the Florida Panhandle. You're thinking about the folks in Georgia. It's just the massive. I'm one of the ones that try to count our blessings in these situations, Ken. And we're just lucky this thing was moving as fast as it was. The amount of rain that it was producing, if it was a little slower, who knows how much worse the flooding could have been. It's bad as it stands. But,
yeah, but like you said, if it parks over you, then you're in trouble.
I'm watching last night. I don't know if you saw any of this. I'm watching last night as people are, and this is just, I understand it's the byproduct of the world that we live in, man, but it is just maddening that people have decided that they're going to go down to the coast, or they're going to stay in their homes at the coast, and they're going to live stream themselves in the middle of a hurricane.
Yeah.
And it's all, like we were talking about yesterday, Ken, everything's fine until it's not.
Yes, sir.
And when it's not fine, and you realize that it's not fine, and you realize you've made a mistake, sadly, sometimes those mistakes are fatal.
Yeah. And you're putting other people's lives in danger, too.
Because now you're calling 911 saying, hey, come get me. And you probably shouldn't have been there in the first place, live streaming in your kayak inside of your home, which is what I was watching last night.
Good.
A guy was live streaming inside of his house, sitting in his kayak because there was 5 feet of water in his house.
Going to be an influencer. That's what he's going to do, Brother Murphy. Going to make it big time as an influencer.
I don't mean to laugh, but you cannot influence. You're not going to influence much.
Right.
Dead.
Right.
You're just not. But yeah, this thing is it's bad. But you know what? If you look on the bright side, we don't wish this on anybody. We don't wish this on the state of Florida or on the state of Georgia. But we are getting some much needed moisture in the state of Tennessee.
Yes, we are, man.
And it's going to keep coming down for what? All day? Is that
all day, good part of tomorrow and good part of Sunday.
Wow. There you go. All right, we've got news time coming up on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Then your telephone calls. We'll continue talking about Sylacauga. I am being told on the aforementioned membersnutrition.com super text line that there is also a gravity hill at Percy Warner Park, pardon me. Percy Warner Park, not Percy Priest. So there you go. There's a gravity hill right around our neck of the woods. That's neat to know. It is 12:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
12:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Now that's a 26-minute delay if you are southbound Priley Parkway before Opry Mills, where they have cleared that serious crash from earlier this morning. We have a 30-minute delay if you are headed downtown. The East Loop eastbound is backed up. The off-ramp to go eastbound on 40, that is blocked, and it is backed up all the way beyond the 65-24 split north of downtown. Helene is now blamed for 22 deaths across 3 states. North Carolina is one of them, where Governor Roy Cooper says areas around Asheville, Flat Rock, and Charlotte getting hit the worst.
The priority now is saving lives. Helene is causing life-threatening flash flooding, numerous landslides, and downed trees, causing power outages.
Yeah, Helene's causing flooding and power outages here in Tennessee, too. Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky standing next to former President Trump during their meeting this morning. Zelensky saying the war needs to end, but with Putin losing, Trump responded.
You know, it takes 2 to tango, and we're going to have a good meeting today. And I think the fact that we're even together today is a very good sign, and hopefully we'll have a good victory, because the other side wins. I don't think you're going to have victories with anything, to be honest with you.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu delivered an address before the United Nations General Assembly today as Israeli bombs were pounding terrorist targets in Lebanon.
As long as Hezbollah chooses the path of war, Israel has no choice, and Israel has every right to remove this threat and return our citizens to their homes safely. And that's exactly what we're doing.
Hezbollah had been warned to stay out of it. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
You know, bugs don't like it when it rains like it's raining right now, and they'll find a way inside of your home if you let them. If you're having a trouble spot in your house where bugs can enter, if you have noticed that you have an influx of spiders or roaches or stink bugs or whatever it might be, I have a solution for you, friends, and it is in the form of J.K. and Erica Brister and U.S. Pest. They're great Americans, and they love their country, and they love killing bugs. I mean, I'm just telling you, it's a fact. Bugs are a problem because they bring disease with them, and they're just creepy in general. It's time to get rid of them in your home, whether it's a full-service pest control issue or if you're looking for termite protection, they can get it done at U.S. Pest. They deal with termites and brown recluse spiders and ticks and fire ants and stink bugs and ladybugs and all of it at U.S. Pest. Give them a call at 615-590-1260, 615-590-1260, or look them up online at uspest.com. Tell them Matt Murphy sent you to the one and only U.S. Pest. Hey, friends, it's Matt Murphy, and I want to talk to you about Nashville Safe House, your overall safety in your home and how you can improve it. You know, Nashville Safe House has been doing this for 30 years. What is it? What have they been doing? They've been helping you protect yourself, protect your family, protect your property by offering you quality safes and vault doors from Nashville Safe House. They don't do all of this other stuff, right? I mean, if you go in, I mean, I'm not knocking anybody. I'm just telling you, you go in, and sometimes people that sell safes, the safes are in a corner. There's like 4 of them. They got dust all over them. They can't find the combination with a compass and a flashlight. I mean, it's a problem. When you go to Nashville Safe House, you'll know that you have found the epicenter of safes. Whether it's Browning or Fort Knox or Champion or Superior or Rhino, whatever it might be, they've got a safe for you in stock. They got a price point in stock. They've got a fire rating in stock right there on the showroom floor. And they'll deliver with one of their professional and qualified delivery crews. They don't rent that out. They don't hire it out. They do it themselves because they believe you should know who's coming into your house, not some third party. It's Nashville Safe House. It's what they do. When it's time to buy a safe, remember, gun safes are sales tax free at Nashville Safe House. Go to NashvilleSafeHouse.com or stop by right across the street from City Cemetery. It is on 4th Avenue South, Nashville Safe House. You know, when Bell's running the show, Bell, by the way, my name is Matt Murphy. Hello, welcome in. Libertarian Lunchtime Hour, moving on. Rain coming down. See, I'm getting a look out there. So when Bell's running the show, I get a standard look, right? I get a standard grumpy old man look. Sammy's running the show today, and I did something right at the end when I was talking to you about Nashville. I have no idea what I did, but I got a laugh out of it. It was kind of a laugh like you're so cute because you're trying to do this right and you're not. I don't know. Is that what you were trying to go for there?
You know, I'm just trying to not mess up back here on day one by myself.
Were you giggling at me because I gesticulate a lot? And so you're looking. So I think this is why you're laughing. Now, if it's not, if you're just laughing at because I look funny, don't tell anybody. But I use my hands a lot when I talk. And when Sammy's behind the glass and I'm doing an advertisement for our good friends at Nashville Safe House or whoever it might be, Sammy has learned, because she's been taught by the best, you don't listen for a word, you look for the point, right?
Correct.
Right. And so I'm over here doing all of this, and I'm sure that Sammy's like, okay, which one of these is the point? I don't.
I just want to make sure I get the point right so I don't cut you off.
You would never do that.
Never.
You would never cut me off. Anyway, it's good to have Sammy behind the glass. Y'all call her and say thank her for the hard work that she's doing, and we need to encourage her because she's going to be good people. 40 minutes after the hour, she is good people. She's going to be great. A great part of the Super Talk family is what I should say. 40 minutes after the hour, there are reports, just back real quick to the weather situation, because this storm system, we're getting rain from it, but it is dumping incredible amounts of rain in Georgia and North Carolina. Asheville has been hammered and hammered hard, and I'm being told, and I have not confirmed these reports, that there are fears in Asheville, North Carolina of dams failing.
Yeah, Lake Lure.
Oh, is that the one, Ken?
Yeah, Lake Lure Dam is in danger of failing, and earlier this morning they were telling people to get out.
Man, oh man, that's scary. That's scary stuff. So all we can do is keep you up to date. And if you know people over there, just wish them well, say a little prayer for them, and maybe give them a call, make sure everything's going well for them. But that is, North Carolina and Asheville, in the Asheville area. I'm kind of, hold on just a second. I was looking this up here.
What are you looking up?
Well, I was trying to see. I mean, I think they're getting a little bit of a respite right now. I think the worst of it may be behind them, but I don't know. I mean, is it just going to sit here, Ken? Is that what it's going to do now?
Well,
it's going to do the damn dipsy doodle? Is that what it's going to do? Haven't you done enough, Helene?
Yeah, man, she's still going. Let me look over here. Over there.
She's currently engaged in the Triple D.
Oh, man.
The damn dipsy doodle.
Okay, so right now, Asheville is getting some rain, but not the heavy kind that they were getting earlier. Right now in North Carolina, it's all east of Raleigh.
Yeah, Greensboro up
but
there.
a big old line of, angry red. One of those bands.
Yeah, Greenville over there, Greenville, South Carolina, I guess that is.
Yeah, Greensboro's getting hit hard. Durham and Raleigh right now getting kind of a respite. Charlotte's not getting much. Asheville's just got some light rain around it, but it got hammered earlier today. And then, of course, you're going to have all that runoff.
And I just assume that what we're talking about, and we're having a good time with the Dipsy Doodle talk, but I guess what the idea is this thing was heading north, but it's hitting the jet stream, and as it hits the jet stream's going to take it over, stop it for a second, and then push it east.
Yeah, it's almost like it's going up against a wall.
Right.
Because what I'm looking at, I don't know what you're looking at, but from what I'm looking at, it looks like what might have been the eye is kind of around Knoxville right now.
Let me see. Let me pull this back.
Because I'm not seeing much of anything in Alabama, Atlanta, Georgia, and South Carolina.
I think those areas, certainly Florida and southern Georgia, I feel like they're kind of done. And
unless this thing comes back around.
Well, let me rotate this thing. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it is kind of around.
It looks like it's right there over Knoxville.
Yeah, around Knoxville, where that big eye wall used to be.
Right.
Okay, there's no rain in Knoxville, we should know, but that's the whole point.
Right.
That's where that center of you look at the rotation, and I think you're exactly right, Ken. It's kind of where that center of rotation is right around Knoxville.
Yeah. Now, looks like what's that up there? Virginia. Looks like Virginia's getting hammered right now.
Charleston, West Virginia.
Ooh, yeah.
Just west of Charleston. I'm looking at that huge red blob going toward Huntington. I assume that's West Virginia as well. I don't know. But heading toward Ohio.
Yeah.
Where they're high in the middle and round on both ends. Ohio. See what I did there? Anyway, so we're watching that. We're monitoring it. And if you know folks in the zone, just check on your loved ones. That's what you need to do.
Yeah.
We'll get back to Sylacauga in a moment. I want to get to Charles in Hendersonville, who's on the line with us on First Amendment Freestyle Friday. Hello, Charles.
How you doing, Matt?
Charles, I'm doing well. I hope you are, sir.
Well, I'm doing better than I have been in the past, and that's all that matters. I wanted to say thank you for putting out there the Men of Valor, and I've got a vested interest in that because I haven't become involved in it, but when I was locked up back in the 80s, all we had was Chuck Colson's prison ministry in the state of Texas, and they don't help you when you get out. They come in and minister while you're in, but they don't care nothing about you when you get out. And I spent 4 years in the state of Texas, and it took me, after release, it took me 12 years to actually get employment enough to make ends meet just for myself before I actually got married and settled down and had a family, which I'm grateful to God for that. I've been married now for 27 years to one woman, and it's all because of God. I do have a great job. Can't tell you the job, but I'm an entertainer driver. That's all I can tell you, but it provides for my family, and I do try and send anonymously to the Men of Valor program, because I don't know what else to do. When people found out that I was locked up, they shun from you, they fire you, find any reason to get rid of you on the job. And I just wanted to say thank you for promoting that program and for what they actually do for the people that are locked up, that whether or not they're serious felons or they're not serious felons, they do come out into the world and need another chance.
Can I want to ask you a personal question, and if you don't want to answer me, you don't have to, Charles, but how long were you in, did you say?
I was in for 4 years.
4 years. Was there anything, you mentioned that you feel like the organizations that you had been dealing with kind of left you, to your own devices once you actually got out. Was there anything or anyone in your life that comes to mind when I say who helped you, who did get you on the right path? Or did you have to do it on your own?
The majority of it was my own. I had one pastor that had a son that had been locked up the same time I was. Matter of fact, he committed suicide in the same cell that I was in.
Oh, dear.
When I was locked up. And he helped as much as he could, or as much as he was willing to, I should say. I don't know if it's as much as he could or what, but I think we helped each other through a small time when I got out, and he wanted to know what actually had happened inside, because what he was told was not the actual truth. But I guess for the first year and a half, he was my go-to person that I would talk to.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as life skills or how to cope with companies that's a law that's required that you have to state whether or not you've been convicted of a felony on every application, whether or not they say that they can't hire you or won't hire you. The majority of the ones that won't hire you is because of that check mark on that application. So the majority of my rehabilitation was I literally had to move from Texas and cut ties with not only the lifestyle people that I was hanging around with, but also with my own family. I went 10 years without my family knowing whether or not I was alive or dead, because that's the only way that I could find my own sanity and my own way back into the real life, into the real world.
Well, first off, congratulations, Charles. There's so many strong-willed and good-hearted men that have failed in the face of the desperation that sometimes descends on you because of the loneliness involved and because of a lack of ability to see a path. And I've talked to enough people, and I haven't felt it from the system itself, and I sometimes think there, but for the grace of God go I. There were times in my youth that I could have fallen into a way that could have led me down the wrong path. Thank God I never did, but I understand it and I get it, and I appreciate you offering words of support for Men of Valor. It's a wonderful organization. I can't say enough about them, and God bless you for finding your way out of that darkness.
I appreciate it. I just want to say I'm not disputing the fact that I did the crime. I've never disputed it, and if truth be told, I should have been locked up for a lot worse than what I was and had more time. But you said it there, for the grace of God go I. And the problem is, even the ones that are in there, even if they find God and are true in their actual belief and actual walk with Him, the world doesn't look at it, yeah, he's just doing that so he can get out early. That's not the truth, because I didn't actually find God. Or God didn't actually find me, because I was going lost. It wasn't God. He was there all the time. But until I actually turned my life around and said, okay, God, you're the center of it. You're my walk. That was 6-7 years after I got out of the penitentiary before it became full circle. Well, where he is now my guiding force. My wife and I, when I'm in town on weekends, we lead praise and worship in church. And I've tried to talk to schools, but they're like, no, we don't want a real ex-offender talking to the kids. We don't want anybody like that actually telling the kids what the truth is.
Well, that's unfortunate, because they're missing a great opportunity. Charles, thank you so much for everything that you've said today. And I'm going to reflect on this a little further after we take a time out, because I do, obviously I believe in every organization you hear me talking about on the Matt Murphy Show. But there are some of them that just touch my heart, and Men of Valor is one of those organizations. I mean, my goodness. And so if you did not hear, this coming Tuesday, I will miss the first hour or hour and a half of the show, because I will be, I think, at Trousdale Prison. I have the opportunity through Men of Valor of touring that facility with Tim Tebow. They're bringing him into town to minister to the guys, to offer some ministry, as well as to speak that night at Rocketown, and he's in Knoxville the following evening. And and they gave me the opportunity to walk with those guys and to talk with some of those guys, and I could not pass up on that opportunity, despite the fact that it conflicted a little bit with the radio show. So Debbie Matthews was nice enough to step in for the first hour, so she'll be here for about an hour of the show or a little more while I'm traveling back, and I'll relate to you exactly what I've learned, and then later on, we'll see one another at the big debate watch party. It's 52 after the hour on Super Talk. Hey, friends, it's Matt Murphy, and let's talk a little about Paul Winkler and everything he does for you with regard to education when it comes to investment. And I want to specifically talk about annuities. More specifically, I want to talk about deferred annuities. Paul Winkler is a big no, especially, and of course, if you are a little bit older. Deferred annuities are not good for you. They're almost never used for the purpose for which they are designed, which is paying out a lifetime income. Now, it's tricky because advisors selling this stuff tout that feature as the reason to buy it, but then they don't use it for that purpose. Sadly, deferred annuities are all about, and I'm just going to go ahead and say it, commissions. Paul Winkler can tell you all about this. This is one of the reasons that I love the way he does his business. He's all about education. And when he sees something in the industry, and, others might say, hey, you're not supposed to say that because we're making good money on these things. Paul's not interested in that. He's interested in protecting you, the customer, and protecting you, the client. I'm a client. I'm also an endorser. I get paid to talk about Paul Winkler. I'm proud to talk about Paul Winkler and what he does for the community. PaulWinkler.com for more information on deferred annuities or anything regarding investment, or give them a call, 615-851-1950, 851-1950.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Right now, it's going to be traffic, and the epicenter is going to be downtown. It is quite the mess, mainly because of some emergency road work that has the off-ramp from 24 eastbound to go 40 east is blocked for this emergency road work. So that is about a 30-minute delay. If you are eastbound, the East Loop downtown, that is backed up from the 2440 merge all the way to the 6524 merge north of downtown. And no telling when that road work, which is said to be emergency, is going to be wrapped up. We've got the full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. Tell you what was Hurricane Helene, what it is now doing to Tennessee as a tropical storm. It keeps churning, dumping heavy rain here. Also North Carolina and Virginia. Jim Ryan says millions of people are dealing with what it did as a Cat 4 hurricane.
Hillsborough County deputies sent to help a 97-year-old woman to escape her flooded home. Hers was one of hundreds of high water rescues carried out across Florida, Georgia, and the Carolinas. But the danger doesn't subside when the water recedes. 2 of the known fatalities were from tornadoes spun off of the hurricane.
Yeah, the death toll stands at 22 across Florida, Georgia, and North Carolina. Former President Trump was standing right next to Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky when Zelensky said they both hold common views that the war with Russia has to end, but Zelensky said with Putin losing. Now, Trump responded, it's going to take Zelensky and Putin getting together to work something out. If he's elected in November, Trump feels confident he can make it happen fast.
You know, it takes 2 to tango, and we're going to have a good meeting today. And I think the fact that we're even together today is a very good sign, and hopefully we'll have a good victory because the other side wins. I don't think you're going to have victories with anything, to be honest with you.
All right, now to the Middle East war raging on. The IDF says they hit a building in the middle of a residential neighborhood in Beirut that served as a headquarters for the terrorist group Hezbollah. The strikes happened shortly after Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu delivered a speech to the UN General Assembly in New York, where he told other world leaders that Israel's goal is to eliminate the terror threats posed by Hamas and Hezbollah.
When he walked out on stage to a smattering of boos and applause, not from the body, but from those who had gathered in the gallery, several members of the UN General Assembly got up and walked out.
Ladies and gentlemen, order.
During his speech, the prime minister said Israel will reject any role for Hamas in a post-war Gaza.
We don't seek to resettle Gaza. What we seek is a demilitarized and de-radicalized Gaza.
Netanyahu also said defeating Hezbollah to the north is now a primary objective as well.
That is Sherry Preston reporting. Pope Francis addressing the anger felt in Belgium over past sexual abuse committed over decades in the church there. Here's Tom Rivers at the foreign desk.
Reacting to criticism from the Belgian Prime Minister and the King, the Pope says the church must seek forgiveness. He was speaking to an audience which included the monarch. Earlier, Prime Minister De Croo blasted him for the Catholic Church's abuse legacy and cover-ups, demanding concrete steps to be taken to come clean about the past and put victims' interests first. The speech, one of the most pointed ever directed at the pontiff during a foreign trip.
That is the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Just about to get into Fried J on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. So get your questions in on the membersnutrition.com super text line, 615-737-9986. My name is Matt Murphy, and I'm happy you're with us on this First Amendment Freestyle Friday on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It's our episode 661. It's a rather wet one, but obviously we've been praying for rain, and here it comes. We are getting it. We're also praying for those folks over in Georgia that are experiencing massive amounts of flooding, and over in North Carolina as well. Those are two of the primary locations that we're looking at. As a matter of fact, I just received a loyal listener to the Matt Murphy Show, consistent with the conversation that Mr. Ken Weaver and I were having, sent me an update, a 1:30 p.m. This would be a 12:30 Middle Tennessee time update on Lake Lure. Am I saying that correctly, you think? Lake Lure?
Lake Lure.
Lake Lure over in North Carolina in Rutherford County. Here is the 1:30 Eastern time, 12:30 Middle Tennessee time update.
Let's hear it.
Water is cresting the dam. Well, I'm sorry, I don't mean that's not good.
Nope.
That's not. Water is cresting the dam and flowing around the sidewalls. Structural supports have been compromised, but the dam wall is currently holding.
That's good.
That's good. Evacuations have occurred from the dam to Island Creek Road. Evacuation sirens are sounding downstream of the dam. Emergency personnel are working with the structural engineers and are going house to house to ensure all citizens have been evacuated. Evacuees are being transported temporarily to Ingalls in Lake Lure, and then it has a text number and an emergency number to get updates. Residents below Lake Lure Dam are told they must evacuate to higher ground immediately, that dam failure is potentially imminent.
You would not have to tell me twice.
No. Not with something like that. So that's a very serious situation over in North Carolina due to the sheer amount of water that's coming down. Now, we are also being told that places in and around Tennessee, like Dollywood, has some significant flooding. There are some videos that are coming out of Dollywood, and really portions of the state that are just east of us have seen a little more rain than we are seeing. We're seeing a good amount of rain, and we need it, but they're seeing a lot of rain in a short period of time. So that should happen throughout the course of the afternoon into tomorrow. A lot of rain showers moving through on Sunday as well. So there you go. There's your latest weather update from Matt Murphy, who doesn't know what he's doing when it comes to meteorology, but I fake it pretty well. Okay, 7 minutes after the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Before we get to Friday, J, real quick, I promised this. So we got a call from Charlie. And Charlie, you're after my heart, brother, when it comes to you telling your testimony about spending some time in prison. 4 years, I guess Charlie said, that he spent some time behind bars, and his road to recovery and his road out of that dark place. For many people, they never find themselves out of that dark place. It's one of the reasons I love Men of Valor. I speak of them often, and for good reason, because they are a wonderful charitable organization that does the things that government cannot do, that does the thing. There is a place for people in prison. And what I mean by that is that if you commit acts of violence, if you commit acts of illegality amongst your fellow man, you must be punished. That's the rule of law that we live under. And it is so very vital and crucial that we maintain that rule of law. That's the reason we say you do the crime, you do the time. But 90% of the people that do the time are getting out. And I understand that, it's easy to be hardened to these criminals as we see their criminal activity in Memphis and Nashville, around the state and around the country, for goodness sake. But I feel it on my heart to say this. When that young, 14-year-old in Georgia, in Winder, Georgia, shot up the school and killed 2 people. And it came out that he was not, his mother was absent from his life. His father was sadly, allowing him to use weapons. And when we started finding out certain details about his life, I heard over and over again, well, he never had a shot. He never had a chance. He never had a shot. And I don't necessarily disagree with that. Because so much of our lives are formulated and fomented at 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 or 10, when you learn about authority, you learn about responsibility, you learn about the difference between right and wrong, and some don't. And I wish that all I will say is this, I wish that I could bottle up that spirit that I heard in the aftermath of the Winder tragedy about he never had a shot. We need to do more to make sure that these young people are getting the home training that they need. We need to make sure that our communities have these father figures within the communities. I wish we had that same spirit around downtown Memphis. I wish we had that same spirit in certain parts of Nashville. It's so easy to talk about the gangbangers of Birmingham, Alabama, and how they're shooting each other up. But you need to recognize that a lot of these young people, it doesn't seem like they have a shot either. Now, I'm speaking in blanket statements, and 9009 says, no, sir, I disagree. If I had a shot, so did he. Well, what's the line? My entire existence was 1,000,000 to 1 shot, right? My entire existence was 1,000,000 to 1 shot. You will find no one that believes more in personal responsibility, taking care of one's own business. But it is a matter of empathy, not sympathy, that we recognize that some people come from different circumstances. Some people grow up without fathers. Some people grow up in an area of the world and in an area of the country and in an area of this state where the person that they look up to is the drug dealer on their street because he's got the nicest car or he's got the nicest clothes. I'm just telling you. All right. So with that said, it's 12 after the hour. How about some questions for our man, right? It is a time to reflect on your legal considerations because our man is on the line. He is my best friend. He is my life consultant. He is our legal correspondent. He's a good Tennessee man, and he's also my gambling buddy. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Friday. It is. It's not morning, but it is Friday on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. And, I love talking to Jay. I would love talking to Jay if we did Mondays. So it's not just the day of the week. It is my opportunity to say hello to my good friend that I don't see nearly enough now that I live in Nashville, and he's still down in Birmingham. His name is Jay St. Clair, and he joins us. Jay, I have a question for you.
All right.
How you doing?
I thought you might ask me that, man. And I've given that a lot of thought. And there's a lot of different ways I could go with it, but I'm going to give it to you straight. I think the only way I could be better this very moment if I were Ugga. I want you to know that I researched whether Ugga goes on road trips.
Well, he does. He does. He does? Yes, he does.
And they have told him that Saban has retired. He knows that.
Uh-huh.
And I bet he's so excited. Right
now. I hope, you know what? After we whoop up on those elephants, I hope he pees right on Saban Field. I do, Jay. I mean, I shouldn't. I'm not saying it's right, but I do.
What game? There's this iconic photograph of like a wider, somebody going out of bounds. Right where Ugga is. Ugga takes a snap at him.
Yeah, it is. I know exactly the photograph you're talking about. It's Georgia-Auburn. Yeah. And I want to say I have, what was his name? Robert. I want to say it was Robert. Somebody on the Super Text line will know. I think his first name was Robert. But it was now Ugga's handler swears to this day, Jay, that Ugga wasn't trying to bite him, but it sure looks like it.
Has he seen the picture?
I think he's like, no, he was just excited that somebody was coming up to play it. If y'all have never seen the picture, look. I think it's Robert Baker. Oh, I'm looking at the picture right now. It's from the Montgomery Advertiser, and it's Auburn wide receiver Robert Baker, and he's going out of bounds. And the best part about the picture, Jay, is he dropped the ball. Thank you for reminding me. That's good. Well, yeah, Uga's going to have a tough time Saturday night, tomorrow night. I believe that's true.
Well, we'll see.
We'll see. Well, I mean, Tennessee's got an opportunity to whoop up on Open this week, so I hope they take that opportunity.
Don't go there.
No.
You know that joke.
Yeah. I mean, no, I was a part. Look, that happened to me in real life. Way back in the day, but I wouldn't do that in front of mixed company. Jay, I got a lot of questions coming in on the membersnutrition.com super text line, and I invite those 615-737-9986. If you would like to be a part of the show and you'd like to ask your legal questions, that way you can do so. If you would prefer to call in, you can do that. Mine is involving this Eric Adams story in New York, Jay. I followed it. I read the initial story, so I followed it briefly. I don't know. Right. I'm certain you've seen it, maybe had a chance to look into it. What do you make of what this is you could argue that mayor of New York City is the most stressful job in the world. You can make that argument. Yeah. Because you're so much closer to the ground in terms of crime and all of these day-to-day activities that you have to do to handle.
All politics is local.
Well, that's right. And so I have a hard time believing that the mayor of New York City, Eric Adams, has any time for bribery, but apparently that's what the federal government is charging him with.
He's got a lot of time for bribery, man. I have read the indictments, and it stretches out over like 9 years. 9 years, man.
Wow.
It started before he became mayor. He was the head of one of the boroughs, maybe Brooklyn, or I forgot which one. It is chock full of details. It's a bribery case. They've got other stuff. It was foreigners that were bribing, so there's also some foreign campaign contribution stuff. But it's basically bribery. For years, man. For years. And they got a lot of detailed facts, which tells me they've got electronic evidence to support all this stuff. Text messages, emails, bank statements, and wire transfers and so forth. So, it's the second oldest profession, right? Mm-hmm. We know what the oldest profession is. I think the second oldest profession is politicians selling themselves. And that's where Virginia. Mostly with the Turks. He somehow got into the Turkey. And what they were wanting was favors for buildings in New York City. There's a lot of money involved in that.
No, it makes sense. You would expect in your reading of the indictment, I guess, we are all presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. That's the way the courts look at it. So
unless you're Trump. Unless you're Trump in New York.
That's true. That's so true.
There's a lot of ironies about this, man. A lot of ironies.
Well, I said on social media that Trump should publicly reach out to Eric Adams and let him know if he needs any legal help in New York City, that he's got a team of attorneys that he'll lend him.
Funniest thing I heard about it is when the mayor about a year ago started criticizing Biden over the immigration thing and what it was doing in New York City. Trump, a year ago, Trump read all that and said, this guy's going to get indicted.
So he knew a year ago.
A year ago. Yep.
Jay, I have a little bit of a curveball, and it has to do with legal matters here in the state of Tennessee, more specifically in Nashville. And I've not asked you about this, so maybe we can go to a break and come back and talk about it. But I want to introduce it. It's this deal with the Tennessee District Attorney Glenn Funk, the Attorney General Glenn Funk. And Glenn Funk has been accused of eavesdropping amongst defense attorneys and defendants in
Oh.
Yeah, so I'll kind of introduce the subject and just get your thoughts on it. Now, once again, presumed innocent until proven guilty, unless you're Trump. But I want to ask you about that case, too. Plus, we've got a number of folks on hold waiting to speak with Jay St. Clair, and we'll do that in just moments on Super Talk 99.7 WT. And if you have a question and you're a little shy, hit us up on the membersnutrition.com super text line, 615-737-9986. All right, man, a lot of water coming down. I mean, you guys see it, you guys feel it, you guys know it, you see it in your yard. We haven't had this much water in some time, and if you've already recognized that you have a waterproofing issue in your home, then you're probably noticing it a lot more nowadays, especially with all the rain coming in. Waterproofing is so important with your home. I mean, it's the most important thing because if you don't have waterproofing in your basement or your crawl space, it will lead to foundation issues, and that's going to cause you major expense down the road. So if you've noticed standing water in places where it ought not be, if you've noticed a musty smell or an odor coming out of your basement or your crawl space, if you've noticed cracks in the basement floors, if you've noticed hardwood floors that are cupping, you need to get to USSTN.com. United Structural Systems. For over 30 years, they've been helping people just like you with regard to waterproofing. They've helped over 25,000 residential customers in our community, and they can help you next. Give them a call. Schedule that appointment. Don't wait, because it could cause greater issues down the road. It's not just about the odor. It's about the foundation of your home. USSTN.com or 615-488-7855. 488-7855 for USS. Super Talk 99.7 WTN, Matt Murphy, and you, and Jay St. Clair. Stand by. Technical short happening as we speak. We're repairing it. Here we go. Okay, we're dealing with. We're dealing with like chicken wire and plaster in here. I don't know what we're doing. Okay, I think I've got it. 615-737-9986. 615-737-WWTN if you'd like to be a part of the show. Jay is with us, and we'll get to your calls momentarily. Jay, so
yes, sir.
Generally speaking, I'm going to give you the background of this story that started in March of 2023. And recently, the Attorney General said he's not filing any charges in this case. I'm talking about Jonathan Skrmetti, the Attorney General of the state of Tennessee. But there's now a question as to whether or not a third party should be involved in analyzing the evidence and determining whether or not the District Attorney General of Nashville did anything illegal. Now, according to the report, and the release of this report follows a Tennessee Bureau of Investigation raid on Glenn Funk's offices, March of 2023. That involved security cameras throughout his offices equipped with microphones that were being used to record people's conversations in and around the DA's office without their knowledge or permission.
Wow.
According to the report, there was a room included in this investigation where defense attorneys were allowed to review evidence, and they did not know that their conversations were being recorded and shared with prosecutors.
Wow.
This feels to me like a no-brainer, Jay.
Well, that's a crime. Here's the way that works. I can record a conversation to which I'm a party. You may have heard there's one party, two-party states. Tennessee's a one-party state, so I can secretly record a conversation I'm having with you, man, and that's legal. What I cannot do is leave a recording device in the room and then record conversations that other people are having, a conversation to which I am not a party. It sounds like that's what's happening here. Now, if you tell people that, when you call people maybe, you'll say, hey, this is being recorded. And if you give them notice up front, then that's okay. You call customer service people and they say, hey, this conversation may be recorded. That's why they're saying that. They're required by law to say that. That's a problem. That's absolutely a problem. So I thought you were going to say that, lawyers were over in the corner of the room. He was going to sneak it up and listen to him.
That's legal, right?
That's legal. One of my most embarrassing moments practicing law, man, I was out of town trying a case. Got up in the morning, went and had breakfast with my client. And then we're sitting there talking about the case. And we get up to leave, and at the very next table was the lawyer on the other side. And I guarantee you that's on purpose. He has since lost his law license for stealing from his clients. But he saw us sitting there having breakfast, and so he came and sat in the very next booth and just eavesdropped on us.
Huh.
It's legal.
It's legal, I suppose, but it is not legal to record a conversation between two individuals when neither of, I don't think this is legal anywhere in the United States, right? When neither of the individuals.
It's federal law.
Right. Unless, obviously, someone goes to a court and through a warrant gets the ability to wiretap.
Or if you got a warrant.
Right.
Or if they tell you, hey, look, everything in here is being recorded. If you go to, like a prison where you go and talk to an inmate, they tell you it's being recorded.
Well, in this case, the Attorney General, whom I have great respect for, Jonathan Skrmetti, has done a great job since he was appointed as Attorney General. His office issued a letter, and in that letter he said that he did not find enough evidence to guarantee a successful prosecution of Funk or anyone on his team. And I think that letter was carefully worded.
Oh, yeah. He didn't say a crime wasn't committed.
Right. It reminded me when I read the letter, Jay, you've seen these situations in football where they, the refs on the field will, call a play one way. That was a fumble.
Right.
And then they go to the review booth.
That has to be conclusive evidence to overturn.
Mm-hmm. And they will either say that a call was confirmed
or the ruling on the field stands.
There you go. And when they say the ruling on the field stands, that gives them so like, man, we might have got that wrong, but we got nothing to prove.
That's exactly right.
And I feel like this was the Attorney General of the state going, I'm going to say the ruling on the field stands here. I don't feel like we're going to convict. And obviously, this would be a hotly politicized situation if they were to decide to bring charges.
Oh, that's very well said. That's a really good analogy. And that may have to do with whether anyone from the DA's office actually listened to the stuff. You know, it may have been getting recorded, but nobody may have actually listened to it or used it for any purpose. But honestly, the simple act of recording is illegal.
Well, and Todd writes in and says, I'm not defending Glenn Funk here, but were there not signs saying that there were cameras in use? And that's the wiggle room. There were signs in the courthouse that said that security cameras were in use, but there was nothing indicated that they were recording audio.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's squishy.
It starts getting gray. Yeah, I mean, I get it that it gets gray, but and they were also recording audio in rooms where one would argue. I would argue that if I'm a defendant and my defense attorney's in the room, I would presume that we're talking by ourselves, right?
Absolutely. No, absolutely.
All right, so let's take a short time out. Jay St. Clair's with us. I got a lot of you on hold waiting to talk to Jay, Gracie, and Larry, and Lila. Plus, several people on the membersnutrition.com super text line are encouraging Jay and I to go ahead and preset a bet between Tennessee and Georgia. And I've had several suggestions as to what that bet should be. And I think I'm going to make it real simple. And it involves the singing of Rocky Top. That is on the way next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
1:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories, and we still got that emergency road work that is backing up the East Loop downtown. If you're going eastbound, it's backed up from the 24-40 split to the 65-24 split and beyond. Hurricane Helene is blamed for 22 deaths in Florida, Georgia, and North Carolina, where Governor Roy Cooper says areas around Asheville, Flat Rock, Charlotte getting hit the worst.
Sadly, our hearts are heavy as we report 2 deaths, one in Catawba County due to a motor vehicle collision on a flooded roadway, and one in Charlotte due to a tree falling on a home.
Former President Trump met with Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky today at Trump Tower.
Days after he told an interviewer that Donald Trump only thinks he knows how to end the war, Volodymyr Zelensky stood by Trump's side, saying the two share the view that the fighting in Ukraine has to be stopped.
And Putin can't win.
Trump told reporters it takes 2 to tango. He added it's a very good sign that he's meeting with Zelensky at all.
And I think if we win, I think we're going to get it resolved very quickly.
Middle East wars. The IDF says they hit a building in the middle of a residential neighborhood in Beirut that served as a headquarters for Hezbollah. The strikes happened shortly after Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu delivered a speech to the UN General Assembly in New York where he told other world leaders Israel's goal is to eliminate the terror threats posed by Hamas and Hezbollah. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy for Tennessee Men's Clinic. So, gentlemen, when you reach a certain age, sometimes your energy kind of falls off. Sometimes it's due to a lack of sleep. Sometimes it's another medical issue that you might want to get checked out. Sometimes it's your T level. And if it's an issue involving energy loss, I would encourage you to contact the Tennessee Men's Clinic. They are invested in men's health care. It's what they do. And they specifically specialize in T-level care, testosterone care, and monitoring and managing those levels if they should dip beyond a certain level. I mean, it's the bottom line is you got to keep those levels up to keep your energy level, to keep your gym gains, and yes, it does involve bedroom activity. And I don't, talk to you that much about that, but I would say this. If you do not have that level of intimacy with your loved one, it's going to affect your relationship. Let's get this handled, men, by going to Tennessee Men's Clinic today. TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. That's TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Or give them a call at 615-208-9090. 208-9090 for Tennessee Men's Clinic. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Joe Biden has signed some new executive orders regarding gun control measures. This as a result of, or at least consistent with, some of the activities going on in Birmingham, Alabama last weekend. There were 4 people that were shot and killed at 5 Points South in Birmingham, an area that I'm intimately familiar with. I know Jay St. Clair is as well. We'll talk about that in hour number 3 of the Matt Murphy Show on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. In the meantime, Jay St. Clair is here to answer any and all of your legal questions. Jay, before we do, several people are suggesting that we should go ahead and set the bet on Tennessee, Georgia. I have somebody on the super text line, and I know you're not a betting man, so I have to force you into doing this, and I know that. At least not on football games or sporting contests. You'll throw a little money down on the come line on the craps table. I know that. All of that to say, someone is suggesting that the loser of the Georgia-Tennessee game should have to play from the tips the next time that we play golf after the game.
Hey, that's pretty good.
That's actually not a bad one.
No. Well, it's actually, well, I'm not going to say that, but.
Look, you don't, look, the way that I drive the ball off the tee, I'll say it. I don't know what you were about to say, but I'll say this. The way I'm driving the ball off the tee, every tee box is the tips for Matt Murphy.
Well, I think it is premature to have a bet on that game because I have to give a lot more thought to the last time I bet on Tennessee football with you. The listeners don't know this, but there was a time, it was a while back, where it looked like Tennessee was going to have a pretty good season. I've forgotten what year it was. And there was a really special guy who has a special needs daughter, and he was putting on an event to raise some money for her.
Dustin Chandler. That's right.
Participate in it, and I said, well, I don't really care to do that, but I'll tell you what I'll do, man. If Tennessee goes 5-0, because I knew Florida was the fifth game, and this was back when they were really good. If Tennessee goes 5-0, I will go skydiving with you.
Mm-hmm.
And Tennessee went 5-0.
Mm-hmm. They did.
I lost that bet.
Now, let me tell my version of this story.
Okay.
Which is, I know, and I've seen it with my own eyeballs. Jay and I took a trip with our then significant others out to Hoover Dam. And I watched Jay fight his fear of heights. Jay has a legitimate fear of heights. I mean, and when I say legit, that means Jay told his brain, or let me get this right. Jay's brain told his body, I want to look over this edge and I want to look at the Hoover Dam.
Right.
And Jay's body said to his brain, no.
Ain't happening.
We're not doing that. And I watched it happen. I watched Jay say, Matt, I want to do this. I want to walk to the edge and I want to look over. And I was like, okay, Jay, well, let's do that. And Jay couldn't do it. He couldn't do it. His body wouldn't let him. And so this same man that I watched that happen to said to me on the radio, Matt, this is my best Jay impersonation, Matt, if Tennessee goes 5, I'll tell you what I'll do. Because you were like, no, I'm not jumping out of an airplane. I'll tell you what. Tennessee goes 5-0, I'll jump out of an airplane. And he just a big smile on his face because you just knew that Tennessee wasn't going 5-0.
That's right. I absolutely knew it.
But here's the deal. They did, and you did. And I think you had a good time, though.
Oh, it was great. It was great. I'll never do it again.
Well, you've done it once.
But I'm glad I did it. We'll see. There's a lot to happen.
Oh, yeah. We'll figure it out.
Teams have to play Alabama. It's too early. We got to wait until the week of the game.
Okay. We'll figure it out. We'll get there. Yep. All right. Let's see. Little Lila has a question for Jay St. Clair. She's calling out of Columbia. Lila, good afternoon and welcome to the Matt Murphy Show. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Okay. My question is this. Let me just give a brief summary here. My husband retired 2 years ago, and he unfortunately suddenly passed away in June.
Oh, wow. I'm sorry.
Yes, thank you. He had life insurance with his employer. Since he retired, he lost that. So I put some on him through my employer. Not a huge policy. Fast forward, the policy was 2 weeks short of being 2 years. So they had to, pick through it with a fine-tooth comb. This was done over the phone, voice recorded. They have denied the death benefit, stating that I answered no to a specific question when I know I didn't, because it related to blood pressure medication, which I had already disclosed. Heart disease was in his family. He had stents put in, so why in the world would he not be on blood pressure medication? They've denied that because of that. I asked for the voice recording. They sent me just the application printed out that the girl that I spoke with over the phone, let's call her Karen, checked no to this specific question when I know I didn't. I wouldn't have. That would have been ridiculous. How do I get that actual recording? I want to hear my voice saying no to question number 12.
No, I'm Lila, right?
Yes, Lila. Yeah. That's right.
Beautiful name.
Yeah.
The only way to do that, ma'am, is to get a lawyer. You need a lawyer to do this. They're never going to respond to you. But so it's just what you got to do. Where are you in Columbia?
Well, actually, no, I live outside of Murfreesboro. I'm just in Columbia today. But yeah, I'm in Tennessee.
My dad was from Murfreesboro. There's actually a St. Clair Street in Murfreesboro, man.
I'm aware of that.
Oh,
yes, I did.
Really? How about that?
Yep.
Do you know about it, Lila?
I know where St. Clair Street is at. Yes.
Yeah.
I work in Murfreesboro.
That's named after my family.
Yeah, I've worked in Murfreesboro for 25 years. Yes. Yep.
Oh, okay, well, that's cool.
what I thought I was going to have to do is get it subpoenaed, pretty much.
No, that's exactly right. I mean, the lawyer can just send a lawyer letter, but you can badge them. You know, I'm going to just say this. Insurance companies are really good at taking your money and really bad at paying you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, here's the other thing that bothers me is they sent me this letter saying, no, they were their deepest condolences, of course. And then out of the goodness of their heart, they sent me a refund check for every premium I ever paid.
Well,
no, not cash that check.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, you just got to get a lawyer, and there's plenty of good lawyers there in the Murfreesboro area, but if you can't find somebody that you're comfortable with, find me on the internet. I'm easy to find. Jay, so you don't have St. Clair spelled because you've been on our street there in Murfreesboro.
I do.
Just shoot me an email or send me a phone call, and we'll find you somebody.
Okay, well, thank you so much.
This is one of those deals where you got to get a lawyer.
That's what I thought, and I'd just rather give the money to an attorney than let them keep it.
Yep,
so I feel about it. Yep. All right, well, thank you for your time, and have a great weekend.
Thanks, Lila.
Thank you, Lila.
Very good. I appreciate you. Larry is next in Clarksville with a thought or question for Jay St. Clair and Matt Murphy. Hello, Larry.
Hey, Matt. Thanks for taking my call. Hey, Jay.
Hey, Larry.
My question is about this whole Glenn Funk issue, and I would really rather use another word, but I won't. But the defense attorneys were required to use a particular room.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, there were signs that said there would be video, but there was no sign saying that there would be audio.
Mm-hmm.
So how is that not a crime? And how does Skermeti, say there's not enough evidence here when obviously there is, because they were audio recording defense attorneys.
I don't know that for a fact. I don't know that there was audio being recorded. I don't know that anybody listened to that audio. I don't know if there was recordings.
And Larry, I don't think we know more than the Attorney General knows about this case.
Right.
Well, no, but I mean, it's been even reported on WTN today and yesterday that there was audio recordings, and that there are people saying, there are defense attorneys saying some of the things we discussed were handed to the prosecutors.
So
we're told through the prosecutor.
Here's what I'm going to do, Larry. Here's what I'm going to do for you and the rest of the audience. I think I have a good enough relationship with the Attorney General's office. I think we can get him on the air next week about this. And we can find out from him what his rationale. Because, I mean, until and unless, I mean, what is the suggestion, Larry, that the AG is letting Funk off, that he's in on it?
Well, I don't know that he's in on it.
I mean, well, then, so we either have to trust him or we don't, or we have to question him, right?
Well, we have to question, but it kind of gets back to that good old boys club. And just for my last comment for Jay, good old Rocky Top. Rocky Top,
Larry. Thank you, brother. I'm be honest with you, Matt. This whole thing smells really fishy.
It's weird. And I don't want anybody. I mean, I know Jonathan. I believe in the way that he does his business. So am I predisposed to be a little defensive of Skermeti? Yes. But that doesn't mean that he's making the right decision. And I don't want anybody to think that I'm saying that. So, but I do think it merits a further conversation to find out exactly.
I'd say this: if there is a clear-cut evidence of a crime being committed, and if the Attorney General is refusing to prosecute that, that's big news, man.
Yeah.
That's big news.
Yes, I'd agree. Jay, I want to finish with a high note, and this. you and I have been doing this for 20 years now on the radio in Birmingham and in Nashville.
Right.
And I don't know that you've gotten a bigger reaction to anything you've ever said on the radio than the reaction that you've gotten over your advice regarding scrambled eggs. I have gotten 2 people today, we haven't even brought it up, that said, hey, would you please tell Jay, thanks for the tip on salting scrambled eggs after cooking. So I'm passing that along.
Thank you for sharing that with me, man. You know, you know me well. I'm a person of simple pleasures. You know, I really am. And when I learned the really correct way to cook scrambled eggs, I was so pleased with myself.
Well, and you're changing lives. 5411 has written in and says, you and Jay, not me, Jay, have changed my scrambled egg game forever. Add salt after cooking. Then he says, my mama was wrong.
Well, I'm sorry about that, but it's the truth. My God, it's like I tell my clients, I don't write the law and just report it. It's the truth.
It is. It is. Well, Jay, have a wonderful weekend, my friend. Hit them straight if you're able to hit them in all of this weather, and I'll talk to you again next Friday.
I'm looking forward to seeing you soon, brother.
That's right. We'll be together before you know it. Take care, my friend.
Thank you, buddy.
All right, see you. There's Jay St. Clair, our good friend, legal correspondent, life consultant, and gambling buddy. It's 51 after the hour on Super Talk. Holy shnikes, folks. I mean, not only is the Glock store doing it the right way over there off of Elm Hill Pike on Airlane Drive, you know where they are, right off of Bradley Parkway. Not only are they doing it the right way in that regard, they're also doing it the right way when it comes to sponsoring our big Hot Springs vice presidential debate. Have you heard about some of the giveaways they've got going on there? Man, oh man, including their grand prize of a Glock. That's right, raffling a Glock from the Glock store at the big event. You have to be present to enter, obviously, and we'll be announcing that big winner coming up next Wednesday afternoon on the Matt Murphy Show with Laney McGill in studio on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. All of that to say, look, Glock Store understands a party, and we've been talking about your ability to hold a party, a celebration, an anniversary, a birthday, whatever it might be at the Glock Store. Friends, they've got a VIP room. They've got a full kitchen. They've got a shooting room there adjacent to the VIP room, and that would be available to you as well, plus a personal instructor to help facilitate some of the visits to the VIP room, some of the visits to the shooting room as well. Go over to glockstore.com to find out more. They're great people. They have great product, and they are good at what they do, and that is providing you your Second Amendment rights. Thank you to the Glock Store. Give them a call to schedule that party at 615-682-6565. 682-6565 for the Glock Store.
Folks, slow down in this tropical storm. Right now, we've got an overturned vehicle blocking the left two lanes, 440 westbound, right there at I-65. Eastbound 24, the East Loop downtown, that's still backed up because of some emergency road repair. It's backed up from 40 all the way beyond 65 north of downtown. Hurricane Helene also closing I-40 east of Knoxville because the river is getting real close to the interstate.
Holy moly.
We got more details coming up at 2 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Man, oh man. Closing down the interstate. That's frightening stuff. There you go. There's Ken Weaver. Ken, you know why people are driving so crazy in Nashville, Tennessee right now?
Why is that, Brother Mark?
It's raining! It's raining! We forget, man.
Man, everybody's just got... Here's the thing.
Freaking out.
You're not getting anywhere fast today.
No, man.
Just calm down, everybody.
It'll be there.
It'll be there.
When you get there.
When you get there.
That's right. That's all you need to know. It'll be there when you get there. Y'all calm down. Everything will be A-okay. Just listen to old Murphy. Ken Weaver will be here all afternoon. Even after I leave, Ken Weaver's going to be here with Brian Wilson on the drive. We're going to take care of y'all.
Yes, sir.
All afternoon long. Never you fear. So I'm getting the business as I expected I would. Todd has written in and says, here you go, Matt. You're kissing the AG's bleep. Look, all I'm asking is that we hear from Attorney General Jonathan Skrmetti directly. I'm going to reach out to his office. I would like to hear his justification before we jump to conclusions that he is all in on protecting D.A. Funk. That's all I'm asking, and I think that's fair because I don't believe that Skrmetti is a bad guy. I don't believe that Skrmetti would protect Funk just to protect Funk. I don't believe that. That would be a national scandal if that is the case. And I don't believe it is. But I'm open to it. We'll find out together. 615-737-9986. One more hour to go. It's time for Ken Weaver in the News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Two o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. And Tropical Storm Helene continues to dump heavy rain on Tennessee, North Carolina, and Virginia now. Looks like Florida, Georgia. You may be in the clear from some of the heaviest rain right now because it has come north. In fact, it is so heavy, as I just mentioned, a river is rising in Cock County, and they have shut I-40 down there east of Knoxville because of that. Here in Nashville, we've got the eastbound East Loop downtown still backed up from 40 to 65 north of town because there's some emergency road work going on over there on the East Loop downtown. And then we just had an overturned vehicle blocking the left two lanes of I-440 westbound near I-65. Got the full forecast coming up in 4 minutes. Yeah, the death toll from what was Hurricane Helene continues to grow. This is Governor Roy Cooper in North Carolina.
Sadly, our hearts are heavy as we report 2 deaths, one in Catawba County due to a motor vehicle collision on a flooded roadway, and one in Charlotte due to a tree falling on a home.
Yeah, the total death toll stands at 22 now in North Carolina, Florida, and Georgia. Former President Trump meeting with Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky today says if he wins in November, he feels confident he can bring Zelensky and Vladimir Putin together to end the war in Ukraine because he says that's what it's going to take.
You know, it takes 2 to tango, and we're going to have a good meeting today. And I think the fact that we're even together today is a very good sign, and hopefully we'll have a good victory because the other side wins. I don't think you're going to have victories with anything, to be honest with you.
Middle East wars. Many at the UN General Assembly walked out when Israel's prime minister delivered his address today. Here's Sherry Preston.
When Benjamin Netanyahu spoke these words,
"Enough is enough."
Several UN General Assembly members had left the chamber, protesting Israel's nearly year-long bombardment of Gaza.
We won't rest until our citizens can return safely to their homes.
The prime minister again calling for the release of hostages. After nearly a year of conflict with Hamas in Gaza, Israel is threatening a ground offensive in Lebanon now against the militant group Hamas to its north, saying Israelis deserve to live in peace.
That's Hezbollah to the north, and in fact, they have been pounding Hezbollah targets in Beirut today. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
All right, friends, it's Matt Murphy, and I want to remind you of a big event that's coming out to Nashville Super Speedway, not this weekend, but next weekend. It's the C10 Nationals. So if you're not familiar with this event, and I've got to admit, I was not very familiar, but I'm very excited about going. The C10 Nationals event is the world's largest Chevrolet and GMC truck event. It is coming to Nashville Super Speedway Friday and Saturday, not today and tomorrow, but next weekend. So you're invited to get your tickets, and I'm going to tell you how in just a moment. Now, they have closed online registration for trucks. So if you want to register your truck to kind of be a part of the event, autocross, and there's a vendor midway, and dyno and drag racing and a track cruise and much, much more, you can register on site. But the online registration has been closed a week out. But on-site registration will exist on Friday or Saturday of the show. Spectator tickets are just $25. Parking is, of course, free. It's at Nashville Super Speedway, a big Chevrolet and GMC event. If you've never seen automobiles like this, you've never seen trucks like this, you'll see them in Nashville at Nashville Super Speedway, October 4th and 5th. More information at C10Nationals.com. That's C, the number 10, Nationals.com. Super Talk 99.7 WTN, final hour of our portion of the broadcast day. Live and local conversation continues on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Starts with Dan Mandis in Nashville's Morning News in the morning. Goes through Chris Hand from 9 until noon. I take up the reins and I carry us till 3 o'clock. Brian Wilson gets us home with the drive from 3 until 7. There you go. 14 full hours of live local conversation on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Ken Weaver's here for most of that. Ken Weaver just works half days, 12 hours a day. Ken, I'm calling an audible to talk with you about this because you said something that kind of freaks me out, and that is they have closed down I-40.
Yes, sir.
And that is, I guess, to the east, where that is past the 40-81 split, right?
That is east of the 40-81 split. It's right there at the Newport exit. It is closed all the way to North Carolina. So anybody in North Carolina trying to get to Tennessee on 40, you're going to be rerouted.
Right.
And same goes for anybody in Tennessee trying to get to North Carolina, you're going to be rerouted. And I'm looking at the map right now, and it's already turning black and red in Newport, where apparently a lot of folks are getting off the interstate and trying to make their way either east or west from there.
Yeah, I'm looking at that too.
But that river, there's a river that is is along there. And I don't know the name of the river. I'm sorry. Please excuse me for my ignorance.
I'm looking right now.
But it apparently is high enough to where authorities have said, you know what, we better shut this down.
It is called the Nolachucky River.
The Nolachucky River.
But it looks like there's a reservoir right there in Newport where there's a lake that they've backed it up there. So, and that is right to the north and east of Sevierville, as they say, Sevierville, which is north of Pigeon Forge. So I'm looking at a photo from WBIR Channel 10, and I apologize that I don't know where WBIR is out of, but obviously they're in...
That is Knoxville.
Is that Knoxville?
Yes, sir.
Part of I-40 has slid into a river in the gorge at the Tennessee-North Carolina state line.
Right.
And I'm looking at this photograph, and literally it's the Pigeon River in this photograph is flooding to near record levels along the interstate, which prompted crews to close I-40 throughout Cocke County and western North Carolina. And this is not like, oh, we have to close it down today and we'll get this thing reopened once these waters subside, because waters have eaten away at the interstate. And I don't know if this is east or westbound that I'm looking at, but I would bet you that is a westbound lane, but it is gone. The interstate is gone.
Yeah, it has eroded the ground underneath, and that's the problem.
That is a central problem. So my goodness gracious, some of the interstate's gone. That's why I-40 is shut down in those portions of Tennessee and obviously portions of North Carolina. It is, we're getting rain, and for us, it is a drencher, and that's all well and good. But there are parts of our state and our neighboring state of North Carolina and into Georgia that they are being devastated by some of this rainfall. So we're praying for them. We're thinking about them, and we'll keep you up to date all afternoon long on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. But
some of that 40 in North Carolina is scary too, man. I mean, you're right up against those mountains, and with this kind of rain, there is the risk of things coming down. I mean, 40 is right up against those mountains. And I'm looking right now, a place there in North Carolina that is just to the west of the Pisgah National Forest. They've got 40 shut down there along the Pigeon River there in North Carolina. Now, I don't know what for. I can't see the reason. But apparently this heavy rain is causing some big problems there in East Tennessee and West North Carolina.
Well, and you feel, and as the rain falls, then the rivers swell, the water runs downstream. It exacerbates an already present problem with flooding. It's going to increase. We've not even approached or talked about cresting yet. So if you at all can, stay away from that part of the world and allow the emergency crews to do their job. Allow the people to, take cover, take shelter. The last thing we need is to cause more issues with gawking or whatnot. But one way or the other, just be safe and keep out of that area if at all possible. I'm getting a lot of images on the Super Text line too, and God bless all of you for sending these things in, because a lot of folks are offering Interstate 40 eastbound washed out going into North Carolina from Tennessee. Yeah, we're getting a number of those photographs. That is the Pigeon River that Ken Weaver just mentioned. This photograph is running around, so I'm getting a lot of the same photograph where the Pigeon River is running right along the interstate and has eaten away at the ground underneath the interstate and has caused the interstate to collapse into the river. That's what has happened.
And like you said, man, I mean, this isn't going to be just, okay, we're going to reopen it after the rain stops. The interstate has collapsed.
Yeah, so you've got to, literally rebuild the ground underneath before you rebuild the interstate, and I wouldn't even begin to tell you how long that might take. But what I would expect is that at some point they're going to assess the interstate down the road. They're going to assess whether or not the one side of the interstate is still stable, and if that's the case, they'll open up one lane either way on that side temporarily while they repair the other. I don't know. I don't even begin to understand the structural engineering that would have to go along with a project like this, but It's going to be a long time before it gets back to normal, my friends.
Death toll up to 30 now.
Oh, my goodness.
Death toll up to 30.
Yeah, and news out of Knoxville, news stations out of Knoxville are saying that it is unclear when the interstate would reopen.
Yeah, there's no telling.
I mean, that's just.
I mean, they're not even thinking about that right now.
That's right. We don't know. I mean, just all we're trying to do is save people's lives right now.
Right.
And as Ken Weaver said, 30 now reported dead as a result of this storm. It is an absolute killer, a dangerous situation to our east, and we're thinking about all of our folks out at the east. It's 13 after the hour. Thinking about you on the phones as well on a First Amendment Freestyle Friday, 615-737-9986. Now, I do not pretend to have all of the details of this story, but it has gotten a lot of response since I brought it up with our man, Jay St. Clair, last hour. Tennessee Attorney General Jonathan Skrmetti has indicated this week that his office has made the decision not to prosecute D.A. Funk, Glenn Funk, right here in Nashville, or anyone else in the office, although he did say that there may have been, quote, ethical breaches in what the district attorney did. Now, I'm just reporting from a story now. I'll give credit where it is due, although Phil Williams will not give me any credit where it's due when he uses some of my stuff in his reporting, which he has done. And I reminded him of that the night that Ken Weaver and I were taking awards home at the Tennessee Broadcasters Association. I said, when are you going to give me a little hat tip there, Williams? I'm talking about you, Phil Williams, with News Channel 5. But anyway, I digress. Phil Williams had this story, so he gets the hat tip. That's the way you're supposed to do it there, Williams. Tennessee lead government watchdog calling for the appointment of a special prosecutor for a second opinion on whether or not Nashville District Attorney Glenn Funk or anyone in his office violated laws. Comptroller Jason Mumpower made those comments in an exclusive interview following his office's release of a scathing investigative report into Funk's office. Among the findings, Funk's office secretly recorded defense attorneys as they reviewed evidence inside of the district attorney's suite. They then shared those recordings with the prosecutors in those cases. So we know that there was knowledge of the recordings. We know what was on the recordings because they shared the recordings with the prosecutors in the case. According to, as I just mentioned, Tennessee Attorney General Jonathan Skrmetti, once again, I've heard nothing but good things coming out of his office. We've had him on the show on several occasions. I don't know if Skrmetti's a good guy or not. I feel like he is. But I have to see more. Before I jump to conclusions that Skrmetti is somehow covering for Funk, I'm going to need to see more evidence to that. What Skrmetti has said is that he does not believe that he has enough evidence to guarantee a prosecution, a successful prosecution. What Mumpower has said is the comptroller, he said, when you look at this report, when you look at what happened in the DA's office, you know, you don't even need to watch a full episode of Law & Order to know that it was wrong. Well, I watch a lot of Law & Order. You watch a lot of Law & Order? I love Law. What are you shaking your head? Why are you not watching Law & Order? What are you... Sammy, by the way, Sammy Kincaid is our executive producer today on The Murphy Show, and you're doing a great job, by the way.
I really appreciate that. It's been a lot of fun.
Well, I hope you're having a good time.
It's been a lot of fun.
You know, I mean, I hope Ken Weaver is keeping you in good humor and in a good mood. I know I don't. I yell a lot, so.
No, he's been very encouraging back here, so I really appreciate
He's
you,
a
Ken.
good man.
That's the way to go, Sammy.
He's a good man. Sammy, you're a good person, too. So you don't watch a lot of Law & Order, then?
I don't watch a lot of TV, though, in general. I'm more movies. I watch a lot of sports.
What's a movie that comes to mind if I say recommend me one, Sammy?
Recommend a movie? Well, right now with a 2-year-old, it's a lot of Disney Plus. I don't know if you want me doing that.
There you go.
And I like documentaries too. So that's what I watch if I'm not with a 2-year-old.
Oh, I dig it. I like that. I'm very excited about this Joker 2 coming out. I don't know why, but I am. I'm just a dork like that. Anyway, so I do watch a lot of Law & Order, though. The comptroller expressed concern that Funk had created a culture that would endanger public safety. Mumpower, comptroller, said, in my mind, as the reporting agent, the most egregious thing uncovered here is the culture in which they thought they could violate Sixth Amendment rights where they listen in or eavesdrop or wiretap what are sacred conversations, sacred to our system and our system of justice and in the United States of America. According to the report by the TBI, there was a raid in the offices of Funk March 2023. We reported on all of this at the time that it happened. following questions about security cameras equipped with microphones that were being used to record people's conversations in and around the DA's office without their knowledge or consent. According to the report, that included a room where defense attorneys were allowed to review evidence not knowing their conversations were being recorded and shared with prosecutors in those cases. Mum power. So are you afraid that criminal defendants may walk free as a result? He was asked. I can't say that anyone's going to walk free, he answered, but I don't think it's a stretch for anyone to think that any defense attorney who spent any amount of time in that particular interview room is going to be racing to the courtroom to file for reconsideration on behalf of their client that they represented. Before the afternoon was up, as at the time of this reporting by News Channel 5, a defense attorney had done exactly that. Public defender Martesha Johnson-Moore said the allegations presented in the report indicate the type of, quote, systematic abuse of prosecutorial discretion. The report also confirms the findings of News Channel 5 in their undercover investigation, which indicated that they spotted district attorney employees working on Funk's 2022 election or re-election campaign on government time. Funk needs to go. What does it take to get this joker out of office? He doesn't prosecute the things that he needs to prosecute. He apparently, when he does prosecute, allows his prosecutors to review information and secret recordings that ought not to be reviewed, at least if we are to believe this report. The report also indicated that in the case of a holiday event held inside of government offices, Funk gave investigators a document that said the signs were donated by a local sign company. However, the company denied knowing anything about such a donation. If that record is found to not be true, once it was given to investigators, it became a government record, so it's a potential fabrication of a government record, according to Mumpower. And that is a crime. In the meantime, Attorney General Jonathan Skrmetti has issued a letter saying that he has not seen enough evidence to guarantee a successful prosecution of Funk or anyone on his team. To which the DA's office, Funk's people, immediately issued a statement saying the matter is now over. Well, to hell with that, buddy boy, the matter is not over. The people need a voice in all of this. Are you putting your thumb on the scale and doing what you ought not do? We have a system of justice that has to be followed. I'm not here to mollycoddle defendants. I'm not here to mollycoddle potential criminals. But they deserve appropriate and blind justice as well. In my opinion, in review of the entire situation, I'm going to try to give Jonathan Skrmetti the benefit of the doubt until we have a chance to talk to him directly, because I am baffled and confused why this would not raise serious red flags for the Attorney General's office, that a DA in Nashville has found to have been recording what were thought to be private conversations in the most sensitive of areas in his DA's office. It doesn't. Maybe I'm reading it wrong, and maybe I'm relying on reports that perhaps are not putting the right emphasis on the right syllable. Okay? However, it feels like Skrmetti's kind of sloughing this off. That does not seem like the type of attorney general that I have met and I've had a conversation with. I'll hold my water until such time as we have a chance to talk to him about this. Why do I feel like I'm going to be told he can't talk about this? Because I've been doing this for 25 years? Right? This is as black and white as it gets. If you do not expressly tell the defense attorneys that you are recording their audio and that prosecutors might review that audio, and you are doing so, that is trash. And illegal. 22 after the hour on Super Talk. Hello, friends. Let's talk about your heating and your AC for just a moment. I want to focus on the heating, okay? I understand that it's still, relatively warm outside, and you've probably not turned your heater on yet. But when you do, if you do not contact Efficient Heating and Cooling, if you don't talk to my man Jeff Eddy, if you don't schedule this maintenance appointment, then you are going to, dare I say, smell the smell. You know what I'm talking about, don't you? When you turn the heater on, you've done this before, and all of the burning starts happening, and all of that dust and dander, when all of that starts burning off the heating coils, and you smell the smell in the ductwork, and you smell it coming out of the vents. Why are you doing that to yourself and your family? That's no good. That's no good to breathe in. You need to get this thing cleaned. Not only do you need to make sure that your heater's going to last throughout the fall and the winter, you need to make sure that it is as clean as can be, and the health and safety of the people that live in your house is not compromised. You do so with a visit from Jeff Eddy and Efficient Heating and Cooling. It can be hard to find someone that you trust in this game, and I trust Jeff Eddy and Efficient Heating and Cooling. He's going to treat you the right way, never charge you over $125 for a maintenance call on your heater. He's never going to charge you overtime for evenings or weekends. It's all about you, the customer, and keeping those invoices low. So they are also an Elite Pro partner with Rheem and ready to go in that regard when the time comes too. EfficientHVAC.net or call 615-784-4424, 784-442-44 for Efficient.
All right, 440 westbound near the 65 exit, left two lanes blocked by an overturned vehicle, and then the eastbound East Loop downtown is still backed up because of some emergency road work. That is a 31-minute delay. And if you have a trip planned to North Carolina or you have family from North Carolina coming to Tennessee, you need to tell them I-40 is shut down now right there near the North Carolina border because the Pigeon River is high And officials say it is too dangerous. And by the way, not far from there, the town of Newport, downtown Newport, under mandatory evacuation orders there in East Tennessee.
Oh, man.
We got more for you coming up at 2:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Man, maybe I can find some good news. We need some good news on this Friday. I mean, my goodness gracious.
Too much water, dude.
And yeah, too much water and too small of a time frame and too small of a space, and this is what you get. By the way, Ken Weaver, I've got a small, somewhat insignificant bone to pick with you, but a bone nonetheless, my friend.
What is it?
You got my back, right?
I got your back.
I mean, and we're new to this thing. I mean, you were in the morning. I listened. I was like, man, one of these days I'm going to grow up and get to work with Ken Weaver because Ken Weaver's got your back, and now Ken Weaver's here. And I don't know if I should blame you for failing us on this.
What happened?
But we missed a very significant day in our lives 2 days ago, September 25th.
Okay.
It was Dolly Parton Day.
Son of a biscuit eater.
You know why September 25th is Dolly Parton Day?
No.
Because it's 9/25. Get it?
I thought we missed out on maybe some of Dolly Parton's favorite desserts.
Nanner pudding.
And you know how I am with dessert.
Yeah, it's not. There's a big push. You know how May the 4th is Star Wars Day?
Yeah, May the 4th be with you.
We're going to make 9/25 Dolly Parton Day in the state of Tennessee. What about that?
I like it.
All right. Just let's remember it next year, okay?
And well, see, I thought we missed out on some food because she just recently released some of her favorite recipes.
Did she really?
Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
And you know.
Let me tell you something.
You know they're good.
Have you seen her lately? She's not eating much of that.
No.
She's not eating much of anything. She's skinny as a minute.
Yeah, she needs to eat.
She does. I mean, no offense, Dolly, but I mean, I like you with some meat on your bones. I mean, I'm not trying to be that guy, but I'm just saying. Anyway, so yeah, 9/25, we missed out. Dolly Parton Day. We're kind of starting it. Somebody suggested it to me online, and I thought, well, I'm going to take the opportunity to unjustifiably attack Ken Weaver, which I just did. Number two, I thought, well, let's get this cranked up for next year. 9/25. What a way to make a living.
I'm putting it in my iPhone right now.
I got it in my calendar myself. There you go. Next year, big celebration next year. We'll make some Dolly Parton cakes and pies from her delicious Duncan Hines line. She's got that frosting. Make you slap something. I don't know what, your mom or whatever.
I set my phone to alert me a week before.
Thank you, kid. We're going to talk gun laws as signed by Joe Biden coming up in just a moment. We'll continue to update you on everything going on from a weather perspective. But most importantly, I'm getting to Jesse in Columbia. And it just says debate on Glenn. And I'm hoping that Jesse wants to have a conversation with me about Glenn Funk. Stay there, Jesse. Plus, Donna is in Thompson Station, wants to talk about Freak Out Friday. I don't know what that means, but we'll find out together. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Yeah, it's 2:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Again, we've got traffic problems here in Nashville, probably rain-related. 440 westbound near the I-65 exit, you got an overturned vehicle. And then emergency road work has the eastbound East Loop backed up all the way beyond 65 north of downtown. There's some emergency road work there where 24 merges with 40 just east of downtown. Got the full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. Yeah, the death toll is rising from Helene, which is now a tropical storm. And the situation in East Tennessee is getting dire. This is because a dam has been breached in North Carolina. It has sent the Pigeon River too close to I-40 there in Cocke County, east of Knoxville. So I-40 has been shut down both directions there near the North Carolina border. And now you've got mandatory evacuation orders for downtown Newport as a result. The death toll, by the way, from Helene stands at 30. The Justice Department has unsealed criminal charges against 3 Iranians that Attorney General Merrick Garland says operated as hackers trying to break into former President Trump's campaign.
The defendants' own words make clear that they were attempting to undermine former President Trump's campaign. in advance of the 2024 U.S. presidential election.
Garland says these 3 accused hackers were employed by Iran's Revolutionary Guard. And the IDF says they hit a building in the middle of a residential neighborhood in Beirut that served as a headquarters for the terrorist organization Hezbollah. The strikes happened shortly after Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu delivered a speech to the UN General Assembly in New York, where he told other world leaders Israel's goal is to eliminate the terror threats posed by Hamas and Hezbollah. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
I was at Savory Spice yesterday. Did I see you? There were a lot of customers in Savory Spice in Franklin. And if I saw you and I did not say hello, I apologize. I was there to do a few things with Holly and David and the rest of the crew. I got my first opportunity to meet Whiskey, who's the new puppy mascot at Savory Spice. He's not in the shop very often, but I did get a chance to say hello. Holly and I were talking about some of the incredible grilling opportunities that are still available. If you're grilling, tailgating, doing whatever for the fall football season, then you need to get over to Savory Spice. She also noted that pumpkin pie spice is available. It's official. It's fall when pumpkin pie spice comes in. Holly would also like to offer this opportunity to remind you that there is no pumpkin pie or no pumpkin whatsoever in pumpkin pie spice. I don't know if you knew that or not. It's the spice that makes the pumpkin good. You need the spice to make it taste delicious. And you find the spice at Savory Spice. See what I did there? They've got the Spice and Easy products. They're going to be with us on Tuesday for our big vice presidential debate watch in Hop Springs, giving out some product. So we're excited about that as well. I'm excited about the possibility of you stopping by either one of their locations, L&L Market in Nashville off of Charlotte Pike, or in Franklin just off the square. When you swing in, do me a favor and tell them that Matt Murphy sent you to the one and only Savory Spice. Hello, friends. Matt Murphy for Brentwood Hearing Center. I want to talk to you a little about an update, a very exciting update and news from my friends at Brentwood Hearing Center. Their team of audiologists are so good, and they keep up with the latest technological devices when it comes to your hearing and helping provide you, the patient, the most recent hearing device technology, as I mentioned. Their leadership team has recently attended the launch of the revolutionary hearing aid that is known as the Phonak Sphere. It is dedicated to helping patients hear in situations where there is extensive background noise. You know the dynamic, right? You're at a dinner party and you have hearing loss and you simply cannot hear even with a hearing device because of all of the background conversations that are going on. Well, this Phonak Sphere is specifically designed to help you when you're out and about, like at a noisy restaurant, visiting with friends, clients at a cocktail party, or even attending a sporting event. It identifies that speech, it gets the speech to you, and eliminates everything else. Give Brentwood Hearing a call today at 615-377-0420, 377-0420, and allow them to talk with you a little further about the Phonak Sphere or any device that might be right for you. Online, BrentwoodHearingCenter.com. That's BrentwoodHearingCenter.com. Brentwood Hearing Center, better hearing for a better life. Hey, Kamala Harris is going to the border today, which is nice. Checking out a place that I guess she's gone to once before. She was, after all, the individual that was designated to get to the root cause. She's been busy trying to get to the root cause of illegal immigration these many years. And now she's back at the border attempting to repair the disaster that has been the Biden-Harris administration with regard to a lack of border security. There is no border security. She'll fill the airwaves full of lies and subterfuge and nonsense about repairing. Let me just go ahead and predict to you. We have a broken immigration system, and sadly, for years, for generations, we've not done anything about this. And I'm sad to say that it was exacerbated by the last administration. And we have to take a holistic approach. When you look at this holistically, when you look at it on the whole and from a holistic perspective, you recognize that sadly, the broken nature of the system creates a breakage that, from a holistic standpoint, can't be repaired simply overnight. You've got to work with other local agents. You have to take a more holistic approach. Did you notice, by the way, the other day when she did this garbage interview with Stephanie Rule, holistic was like her word of the day? You will not convince me that Kamala Harris doesn't have a word of the day calendar, because on any given day, I mean, she trots out these words and she regurgitates them 28 different times when speaking off the cuff, which you hear with less and less regularity nowadays because they can't have all of that. A lot of garbage later on today. This is not garbage. This is important stuff. Jesse's in Columbia. Donna, I'm getting to you momentarily. Jesse, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm fabulous. Thanks for calling in. What's on your mind?
Well, I was listening to your discussion on Glenn Funk and the cameras that were obviously had audio connected in his office. And they were. You said you meant, I can't remember the name of the attorney, but you said there was an attorney that was wanting to possibly attempt to prosecute him for some type of, I guess, would fall under illegal wiretapping laws under our TCA in Tennessee. And now they're starting to back off of the prosecution. Is that what I was understanding?
Yeah. So there's a question as to what ethical violations may have occurred and potentially what legal violations may have occurred if what we are hearing coming out of the DA's office is correct, that he had specific rooms where defendants and their attorneys spoke freely amongst themselves that were tapped, and then those recorded conversations were turned over to the prosecution without the knowledge of the defense. So that's the allegation. The Attorney General of the state of Tennessee, Jonathan Skrmetti, has reviewed it, and he came out with a letter indicating that while ethical violations may have occurred that he did not believe. Well, let me just read from it. It says that he did not see enough evidence to guarantee a successful prosecution of Funk or anyone on his team.
Okay, yeah. So that makes me think of venue. So when you talk about attorney-client privilege, the last thing I would want to do is go into a public office. I mean, if you want to file for discovery for your client, go ahead. Go to the DA's office, pick up whatever evidence they have on the case, and get your copies and go back to your law office to review that. The problem you're going to run into as far as prosecution for illegal wiretapping is that is a public office, and there's no reasonable expectation of privacy in that office. So I believe that's probably where they would have a hard time getting probable cause on doing some prosecution, because there is no expectation of privacy in a public office.
I would completely disagree with you. If I go into a conference room area, if I'm at the district attorney's office for some reason with a client, and I'm an attorney, and I ask for 10 minutes to speak privately with my client, and we go to a conference room, you're telling me that I should not have an expectation that that's a private conversation?
Well, I understand that point. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, but that's what we're talking about. So, I mean, I understand in the public hallways, and I've, it really boils down to, and I'm not fussing with, I mean, I like the discussion, but it really boils down to where was he recording, when was he recording, and honestly, I think for most of us, for most reasonable people, I mean, I'm predisposed to not like D.A. Funk. I think he's a poor district attorney. But setting that aside for a minute, it really is all about what was his purpose? Why was he video and audio recording in rooms? Not hallways, rooms. And I would love for an explanation as to why that was going on, because it feels like the only reason to do that is to eavesdrop on people that don't know that they're being recorded.
Absolutely. Yeah, I understand that. I was kind of confused on the point of why in the world a client would be at the district attorney's office. Why would you bring the defendant to the district attorney's office and be doing interviews there? That doesn't seem appropriate either.
Well, I mean, I understand that, and I understand your point, too, that, I mean, if I'm sitting on a bench in a hallway and I'm having a conversation with my client, I should not expect that somebody could not overhear that, right?
Right.
So, I think in this, the devil's in the details. Now, I'm taking a step back on it because I don't trust Funk as far as I can throw him, but I do trust A.G. Skermetti. And A.G. Skermetti's the one that came out and said, I don't think we have the evidence to prosecute anything. So, I mean, maybe there's more to that story. We're going to find out next week. Jesse, I appreciate the call. Donna is next in Thompson Station. Donna, thank you for the call. Good afternoon. You're on The Murphy Show.
Hey, good afternoon, Matt. We love you. We love all of you at 99.7.
Thank you.
And this is a totally different subject.
Let's go.
But thank you for allowing me to vent. But, I think the Titans would have a much better chance of winning some games is to get rid of the freaking Wake logos on on their helmets. And no wonder people have tuned out, not only to just NFL and period, in general, but may I recommend some new logos?
So wait, what type of logo did you just say they need to get rid of? What logo?
On the back of their helmets. The Titans, the football, yeah.
Yeah, what do they have on there?
Choose love.
Oh, sure. Yeah, reject hate or whatever.
Yeah. Racism. All that bullshit. Okay. How about
and by the way, Donna, just as a point of comedy, I just find it. This is the way my brain works. I'm sitting watching football, and I was like, I was gonna choose death. I was ready to choose death, but I see this schmuck on the football field, and his helmet says "choose life." Ooh, this is turning me all around. I mean, yeah, it's silly.
Let me tell you, I will keep it short. Here are some awesome logos for them to consider.
Okay, let's go.
In the NFL, we the people. God bless America.
Mm-hmm.
Love our military.
Yep.
Love your family.
Like it.
United we stand.
Love that one.
Stop whining.
That's my favorite so far.
No snowflakes.
Nice.
Man up.
Love it.
Get a life.
That's a good one.
And I saved the best for last. Fight.
Yes. Wow. That is it. Donna, I'm so glad you called me. This is the caller of the week. I love it.
I thought I'd make your evening.
That is so good. I love that. Those are some great. That's how you get them. Those are some great suggestions. Fight. I like stop whining myself. That's pretty good. Speaking of whining, many of you understand that my beloved Georgia Bulldogs are taking on the hated Alabama Crimson Tide this weekend in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. And I've tried not to say much about it, because I know that you come to this radio show for different reasons. We come to talk about the news of the day with regard to the presidential contest, what's going on in the state of Tennessee, what's going on with the weather, all of these things. You don't come to hear me whine about a football game. But can I just spend a moment of our time before I have to say goodbye, reminding you, and I think I can even get an amen from Ken Weaver, and everybody knows that Weaver is an Oklahoma man, and he brings his Sooner fandom with him.
What's that?
Ken Weaver, I think we can all come together in a unification moment.
Okay.
Because folks around here, around these parts, they're mostly Vols. I mean, that's fair, right? We got a lot of Tennessee Vol fans.
Whole bunch of them.
And we got some Sooners, and we got some Bulldogs, and we got some, are you a Vols girl, Sammy?
I am.
Okay,
I got my orange. Even though it's a bye week, I still got my orange for Big Orange Friday.
Heck yes, you do.
Sammy, I'm talking directly to you right now. Because I know y'all don't care for the Bulldogs, and that's fine. And we'll handle our business come November 16th on the field in Athens, Georgia. But can we not all come together this weekend, specifically tomorrow evening, and gather around our televisions, our viewing stations, our phones, wherever we might be watching this big football contest of skill? Can we not all come together in our mutual hatred of everything Alabama? Can we not?
Oh, absolutely.
Come together in that?
I will absolutely. If anyone, I don't care who it is, just everyone beat Alabama. I can get on board with that.
Love it.
You best look out there, Sammy, because I think the Dogs are getting ready to be the big bully.
Well, no, we're not. No, we're not a bully. We love it. We love everybody.
You're just like my older cousins, putting people in headlocks and scobbing their knobs.
That's not
laughing
true.
at them.
Ken, all we want you to do, we're going to roll over on our back, just rub our belly. That's all we want. We want a good scratch and maybe a snack. That's all we're asking for.
What's that little bulldog's name? Beauregard?
His name is what? Ugga? You talking about Ugga?
Oh, is it Ugga?
It's Ugga.
I love that. Love that bulldog.
All we want a scratch on the belly. That's all we're asking for, and maybe a victory in Tuscaloosa tomorrow night. Ken Weaver, do you have a bold prediction?
Okay, I'm going to say this.
You can hurt my feelings, by the way. It's okay.
It is going to come to... Here's the thing. Georgia and Alabama don't get beat. Georgia and Alabama beat themselves. Mm-hmm. And I think it's going to come down to something as simple as a false start that kills a drive.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm going to have to say... I'm going to have to say Georgia wins.
I thought you can't wait. I think he did it just for me.
I just think
he did it just for me.
I think Kirby. I watched Kirby yelling at those boys in Kentucky.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. By the way, and I know we have to go to a break. Have you seen the audio? And this is why you don't talk smack. So this has been a motivating thing for Georgia because they've been preaching lunch pail. Take your lunch bucket, go to work, do your work, shut up, don't say anything.
Right.
So Jalen Milroe, the quarterback for the Crimson Tide.
Who's real good,
apparently made some comments to a local radio station in Birmingham, a couple of boys that I know quite well, Cole Kubelik and Greg McElroy. After the SEC championship game, about a week and a half later, he was on their show. Now, this is obviously 9 months ago, but it doesn't matter. And he goes, he said, we saw the look in their eyes, and we saw that they were defeated in the fourth quarter. We knew that we were going to win that game. And the game was a 3-point game. And apparently Kirby has been playing these comments to his players.
That sounds like Kirby.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, Jalen knew y'all were going to quit. He knew that y'all were going to quit before the game, and so one of the Georgia defensive linemen was asked about this earlier in this week, and they're like, well, Jalen Milroe said, and they played the entire quote for him, and the guy just sat there and said, "I'm aware." and they said, "Well, what are you doing about it?" He said, "I'm grinding." I was like, I like to hear that. So we'll see. We'll see together. 52 after the hour, 31-24 if anybody wants to know. And that's worth the prediction that it's written on. 52 after the hour, we'll check in with Brian Wilson next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Winding down my portion of the day and handing off to Brian Wilson in mere seconds. The Matt Murphy Show done for the week. Brian's coming up. I gave him no time to tell me how he thinks maybe the Alabama Crimson Tide's going to beat my Georgia Bulldogs. That's what I was fearful of. That's why I ended it this way. But Brian is on the way next. He's going to fill you with news and information. He's going to fill you with things that you can take home to the family. That is all on the way with The Drive with Brian Wilson coming up in mere seconds right after Ken Weaver's newscast. And Ken Weaver's newscast is coming up right now on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Have a wonderful weekend, folks. Stay dry. Think about the folks over in North Carolina and Georgia and those parts where they're getting a lot of flooding. They're going to need our thoughts. They're going to need our prayers, and they're going to need our cash at some point. And we're going to do all of those things for them in the coming days and weeks. Until Monday at high noon, have a great weekend. Hug your loved ones. I hope your team wins, unless your team is the Crimson Tide, in which case, go Dogs. See you Monday.
Three o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories, and we've got a lot of crashes out there right now. Briley Parkway northbound at Lebanon Pike, the left lane is blocked. Briley Parkway southbound after Ashland City Highway exit 24 in Jordania. That's an injury crash. 40 eastbound at Fessler's Lane. There is road construction there. The left lane is closed. And then 40 eastbound near Church Street at exit 209. That's just right outside the studios here. By the way, that eastbound East Loop downtown has been backed up all day due to that emergency road work, and it is backed up beyond the 65-24 split there north of downtown. We've got the full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. The death toll is rising from Helene, which slammed into the Florida coast as a Category 4 hurricane. It has surpassed 30 in 4 states. And right now, it is a tropical storm and causing big problems in East Tennessee. Just east of Knoxville, I-40 is shut down due to the Pigeon River overflowing near the North Carolina border. Not far from there, downtown Newport is under mandatory evacuation orders due to the Waterville Dam failing. Cock County is under shelter in place. News 2 says flooding cut off a hospital from land in Union County. More than 50 people sent to the roof to wait for water rescue. Again, the death toll is now over 30 across 4 states. And the Salvation Army of Tennessee and